Indie News.
I'm Samson Franklin. It's 1 p.m. and this is your Indie News. First, international news. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is speaking to widening the concerns the U.S.-Israel strikes in Iran could spiral into a protracted regional conflict by declaring this is not Iraq. This is not endless, quote. Hegseth and Joint Chief of Staff Chairman Air Force General Dan Kane held a Trump administration's first news briefing since Saturday's strikes. Hegseth says the operation has a clear, devastating, decisive mission to destroy the missile threat from Iran, destroy the Navy, and, quote, no nukes. The briefing comes as the conflict has intensified into a wider war in the region. Iran and its allied armed groups have launched missiles at Israel, Arab states, and U.S. military targets in the Middle East. In Canadian national news, Saskatchewan politician returns to legislature today for the spring sitting, where Premier Scott Moe says his Saskatchewan party government will introduce a deficit budget later this month. Moe attributes the Project Red Ink to revenue problems caused by trade and market uncertainty, including shortfalls stemming from China's previous tariffs on Canadian canola products, which have now mostly been removed. The government also plans to pass legislation introduced last fall, including a bill that would mandate drug treatment for people battling addictions. Meanwhile, the opposing NDP says it will press the government to address worsening conditions in hospitals and schools and calls for stronger action to reduce crime. Back in Ontario, a study in the Canadian Medical Association Journal finds that contact from young men to Ontario's Connects Ontario 24-hour mental health and addictions helpline for gambling-related issues have risen by more than 300% since private online gambling was allowed. Reviewing data from January 2012 to September 2025, researchers observe a sharp increase after the province expanded private online gambling in April 2022, compared with the period before the 2015 launch of the Play OLG platform. The monthly rate of gambling-related contact per million people rose 317% among males aged 15 to 24 and about 108% among men aged 25 to 44. Co-author Dr. Daniel Mayer of North York General Hospital says findings suggest more harmful gambling patterns and highlight the need to treat gambling disorders as a public health issue with accessible care. Sports and weather. Next.
Indie Sports.
In NBA action, the Raptors don't play again tonight, but will we face the Knicks tomorrow? 4 games still to watch tonight. Washington hosts Kevin Durant and the Rockets at 7. 30 minutes later, Bucks welcome the Celtics, and later night games at 9 and 10 p.m., Nuggets Jazz, then Clippers Warriors. On the ice now, up in the NHL, games at 7 and 7:30 p.m. Blue Jackets face the Rangers, and our Toronto Maple Leafs welcome Philadelphia. Will Philly fly or will the Leafs fall? Find out at 7:30. And soon Detroit will march into Nashville. Predators Red Wings this afternoon at 2 p.m. Weather next.
Indie weather.
Here's what's happening outside the Indie newsroom. Today it's -3, feeling like -6, and sunny. Tomorrow is a mix of sun and clouds and -11 with a wind chill. Tonight will be -4, feeling like -9, and outside the Indie newsroom, it's sunny and -3, feeling like -6. Like lightning. That was Lightning by Connor Gaines, and you're listening to the What's the Point show on Indie 101.5. You already know who it is. Your hostess with the mostest, Sam's on point. If you're not here from my Instagram story, you're just here from listening to some banger music on Indie 101.5 hit music all the time, right? And I introduced this thing called Theming last show or episode. If you listen to me on the Spotify, check me out. I'll tell you more about that later in the show. But the intro in this episode is all about I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but, and that is a theme. So off rip, it's going to be a little fun. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but, and so you're just going to hear a couple little theories that have nothing to do with anything you don't have to think about. But if you're not a conspiracy theorist too, hit me up on Sands on Point on Instagram and tell me your non-conspiracy theories. Anyway, up next is Let's Jet by Gene Champagne on Indie 101.5. 101.5 Pearl Jam Getaway. You're listening to the What's the Point show. I'm Sam's on Point, and that song got me in a bit of a mood. Not just any mood, the mood to talk a little bit about Team USA. I'm not gonna say anything, but Captain of Team USA, Matthews, did go to the White House and eat a quote unquote victory meal. Looked a lot like upscaled McDonald's, and that's not a good thing considering what Team USA's women's team went out to eat. And they all had games very recently afterwards as well. And if you saw the pictures, I'm going to put pictures on my story of what they were eating. Bad looking burgers. I'm thinking about it and my stomach's getting queasy. Bad looking burgers, weird looking, thick, weird, dry wraps. And I'm just going to say a little bit of a stat after to compare. Austin Matthews, the game after against the Florida Panthers, which is a place where Trump likes to hang out a lot, they lost. He led his team to a humongous loss, 5-1, February 26th, right after that Olympic break, and he scored 0 goals and technically got an assist, barely, in my opinion. John Tavares, Canadian, scored the only goal for the Leafs, and let's just compare him to Brad Marchand, who many Leafs fans consider a bum. He scored 2 goals in only 14 minutes that game. So all I'm saying, who's the real bum out here? But that's not even a theory. That's just a couple words coming out of my mouth. Anyway, your entertainment minute coming up right now.
Sunshine, warming, energizing, life-giving. Like the
Indie Entertainment.
Pop icon Taylor Swift announced additional international dates on her record-breaking Eras tour, citing overwhelming demand in Europe, Asia, and meanwhile, Zendaya is getting an early award buzz for her upcoming film project after a strong year in the box office, further commenting on her status as one of Hollywood's most bankable young stars. In streaming news, Netflix revealed a major content expansion plan that includes new original series, live events, programming, and expanding sports offerings as competition intensifies across digital platforms. I'm Sam's on Point, and that was your Entertainment Minute on Indie 101.5. Taking Me Back by Jack White on Indie 101.5. It's currently 1:31 of the p.m., and if you're not listening live, then you're not listening at all. But don't worry, more hit music right now. Runaway by League of Wolves on Indie 101.5. Wanna Be by Machine Gun Kelly. And I think we all want to be okay. I think we all want to be all right. And you already know you listen to What's the Point show, Stands on Point, and you already know the theme. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but are all moms a hive mind? No, I'm so for real. Like, I talk to my friends talk to their friends. We all got moms, right? I talk to people who, acquaintances. Everyone's got some form of mom. And there's a couple things that I notice that all moms do. I feel like they're all connected. They do a little fear mongering. They just want to make sure you're okay, just want to make sure you're safe. And scaring you with scary stories and tactics from their life is just how a mom does it. Am I always going to wear my seatbelt now? Yes. Is that a good thing? Also yes. And B, finding stuff. I've lost something since 2015, and all of a sudden I tell my mom about it, and bang, she knows where it is. Insane. She has a superpower, but also losing stuff. She's like, where are my glasses? They're on her forehead. How does she not know that? I don't know. But if you have mom stories you want to tell me, hit me up on Sam's On Point on Instagram. Or if you're a mom and you want to tell me all your mommy secrets, Sam's On Point on Instagram. Anyway, up next, Long Drives by Boy with a Uke on Indie 1015. Indie 1015, what are we waiting for? We're waiting on a war. That was Waiting on a War by the Foo Fighters. Banger, by the way. But you're listening to the What's the Point segment on Indie 1015, and it's 2026. And International Women's Day is happening this weekend, and the theme is Give to Gain. But some may be wondering why we have International Women's Day in the first place. International Women's Day is not just a day to celebrate women, but to bring awareness to particularly women's struggles with equality, reproductive rights, and abuse. These main values of educating others are from the 20th century, being promoted by many socialist movements at the time. And Vladimir Lenin declared March 8th coming up as International Women's Day in honor of women participating in the 1917 Russian Revolution. And the holiday was promoted by the UN in 1977. Sam's On Point celebrates International Women's Day on Indie 1015. Boyfriend Girlfriend by Staggered Crossing on Indie 1015. It is the end of the What's the Point show, and I need to know what's the what. So don't forget to hit me up on Sam's On Point on Instagram, Sam's On Point on any platform. Send me email, samsonpoint@gmail.com. And don't forget, the show will be posted to Spotify just minutes. By minutes, I mean around 60 right after the show is over. Don't forget to catch Carmelo coming up right now. And hit music, still coming, still Life on Fire by Miss Ancien on Indie 1015.